It all started with a spark. We took the first steps on the empty field that would become the foundation of our new home. Bosch Cluj plant. One year later, we were ready to move in. Ready to shape the future. Eager to manufacture the latest products for mobility solutions, we began the production for our very first customer. In 2014, it was official. We cut the ribbon for the new automotive electronics plant in Cluj. Since then, it has become the place where talented people are constantly driven by curiosity. Inspired by their passion for electronics, while remaining mindful about protecting the environment for future generations. A working place that fosters collaboration and communication, where ideas lead to something big. We deliver products to over 50 customers worldwide. High-class electronics for driving assistance, safety, and comfort in traffic. Manufactured in Cluj. With the latest technologies of Industry 4.0 and artificial intelligence. Today, we take another step towards the future, but we won't stop here. We will keep growing. Innovating, improving the quality of life. Bosch, invented for life.
At NXP, we believe in a world that anticipates and automates to meet our needs.
Where we can realize our goals and pursue our dreams.
Enabled by technologies that don't wait for us to ask for help or feedback.
But sense us, support us, respect us.
We believe in our technology.
Technology that is aware, smart, connected, efficient, and safe and secure.
Tested by our decades of experience and leadership.
We believe in.
Because we have seen it firsthand.
The opportunity for technology innovation to make an impact in our lives.
At home or at work, often called at the edge of computer networks.
In our cars, trucks, and mass transit.
In our wallets and pockets.
And in our retail businesses and industrial factories.
We believe in delivering electrification, sustainability, and AI ethics.
We believe in what we do.
Building the processors and MCUs that enable smart devices.
To sense, think, and act.
Building the Wi-Fi, UWB, and other solutions that allow them to connect.
Building smart cities, smart homes, smart transportation.
Building smart lives.
We have a vision of a world that anticipates and automates to meet all of our needs.
We believe our people help make it real.
For everyone.
We are NXP.
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 Hello, and welcome to the second edition of Women Professionals in the Automotive Industry Conference. I'm Mirela Gavra, publisher of TheDiplomat Bucharest, Automotive Today, and the organizer of today's conference. Before getting into the topics of today's event, allow me to thank you, Ramona Jurubiță, Country Manager Partner, KPMG Romania, who will moderate today's event. Also, I want to thank events partners, Platinum Partner NXP Semiconductors, Gold Partner Bosch, partners Continental and Ford, strategic partner Acarom, supporting partners AHK Romania, BRCC, Belgian and Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce, ADA, Lovering and Partners, media partners, Outsourcing Today, Financial Intelligence, Bursa, România Durabilă, Economistul și Club Economic. I will invite now Ramona Jurbiță to introduce today's speakers. Thank you, Ramona.
Thank you, Mirela and Diplomat Bucharest for organizing this. Welcome everyone for this event today, which has a very important topic, and the topic is around empowering women at the leadership table in automotive industry. It's a very broad topic, and we will try to tackle this topic with our guest today. So I would like to welcome our speakers who accepted our invitation today to discuss with us for the next about 2 hours. And I will introduce Josephine Payne. She's president of Ford Motor Company. I will have also together Simona Almăjan, country managing partner NXP Semiconductor Romania, Monica Constantinescu, commercial director Bosch plant Cluj and vice president automotive electronics, Sono Criveto, general manager Continental Sibiu, Alexandra Petculescu, operation manager director Marquardt Schalt Systeme SCS. I hope I spell it correctly.
Yes, was right.
Thank you, everyone, for joining with me today. We will have a very short, let's say, kickoff of our meeting today, and then hopefully a very live and debatable panel together with you. And since we have Jo with us, I would like to welcome her. I know, Jo, you took over more than a year ago the leadership role in Ford in the middle of pandemic. Let's say that it was quite challenging, and now since 2 weeks already we are facing this unprecedented war in Ukraine with lots of consequences for all the industries, not to mention the humanitarian and other kind of implications. And now since our team is to empower and encourage women across the automotive industry, I think it's also important to understand from your side, Jo, how do you see, given the challenging times, right? How do you see the women professionals in the leadership of the automotive industry, and how Ford sees this at a broader perspective?
So first of all, it's great to be here with such such fantastic female peers, and thank you to the Diplomat and all the partners for bringing us together. I think it's really important that we spend the time together to talk about this. One, because quite frankly there aren't enough of us, women, and we need to work to advance ourselves and prepare the ground for the women who are coming to the next generation. When I think about Ford, certainly within Ford we don't we are the gender balance is not aligned. There are still too few women in leadership positions. Although in Craiova we have, in Romania, we're in the best position of almost any plant within the Ford world. We have 46% women in my workforce, so I'm very, very proud of that. And we have women throughout the levels. I'm clearly not Romanian. I'm English. I'm the only non-Romanian in my facility, with 6,000 people, and we have some very strong female leaders amongst our team. And I think, for me, what we bring that's different to the men is, we're all in a very technical, technological industry, but in fact, what makes things work are the people. And it doesn't matter how good your innovation is, if you don't have the people and the passion of the people and the commitment and the engagement, you're never going to be successful. And I think as women, particularly working in the STEM areas, we bring a balance of technical skills and people skills that, when you merge those two together, makes us really, really successful. I think our challenge is that sometimes, we don't have enough confidence in ourselves and recognition of our own abilities. And that's why conferences like this, I think, are really important, that we get together and we actually talk about how great we are, and reinforce that for ourselves, because it's really true. And there's lots of videos and things about empowering women and breaking the bias, particularly given yesterday being International Women's Day. I think our role as leaders and as people in this field is to make sure we don't just talk about that on March the 8th, but that we talk about that throughout the year. And we work, my job as a leader is to encourage and to value and to make the landscape prepared for other women to come through.
Thank you, Joe. I think you mentioned rightfully also about the challenges, and I think the confidence, I think it's one of the key points that you've mentioned. If there is one message that I would take from what you said and to spread across the audience, is to have more confidence in ourselves, in pursuing this path. But I was wondering, on a more personal note, what attracted you in terms of joining the automotive industry? Can you tell us a bit more about what made you join?
So I've been in the automotive industry my entire career. I joined Ford when I was 18, when I left school, and I've been here ever since. And that's quite common for people at Ford. And I think one of the reasons is that there is such a variety of jobs, and every time you think, oh, I'd like to do something different, you have the opportunity and have the ability to move within the company and do different things. And I've always wanted, a new challenge, to really be stretched and to take on new assignments. And I think that's helped me grow as a person and helped me also, grow to different levels within the company. What first inspired me to join Ford was 1 hour. It was when I was at school, when I was 12 or 13, and some engineers from Ford came to my town, which was, where I went to school was 250 miles away from the nearest Ford facility. And they were just doing a tour around the country in England. And they came and they did a talk about how physics merges with chemistry to create vehicles and power the world. And I just, it was 1 hour, and that hour changed my life. And I really was inspired and thought, this is where I want to be. This is, an industry that really excites me. And I think we sometimes forget how such a small interaction for those engineers. They gave that talk 2 or 3 times a day to lots of different people, and and you don't realize just how much those interactions can make a difference to people, and really inspire the next generation. And that's why I try as much as I can to do a lot of outreach, particularly to women who are in the very early stages of thinking about what they want to do in their career, 13, 14, 15, encouraging them, if they have an interest in science or STEM subjects, to stay with it, because they're bombarded with information that says, this is, engineering, science, it's a man's world, you don't want to go there. The peer pressure, it's all about the image, it's all about, making TikTok videos or Instagram poses, that's pulling women away. And all these other influences, they really need role models, and to see the opportunities that our industry have, particularly now when it's, we're changing from this, world of internal combustion engines to electrification, so much more software and electronics. We saw the growth of, the Bosch factory, and that's incredible. There are so many opportunities, and it's a time of such change. We can have an incredible influence on this. And so, yeah, you know, it's that small spark brought me to crossover in Romania. It's incredible.
Thank you so much, Joe, for sharing this with us. Sometimes small words can have a huge impact upon our careers. And sometimes small words can inspire us to embark in a mission to change the world. I think this is what I took from your message. Thank you so much for kicking off our event today with us. I know that you have to attend another meeting very important for you, especially since we are, like I said, going through unprecedented time. But if you can stay or join later, we are here. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. And ladies, it was wonderful to meet you, and I can't wait to see you all in person, hopefully later in the year.
Okay, thank you. So now I will officially start our panel discussion. And since I've already introduced the topic, I would like to encourage those who are watching us to take the time to ask a question in the Q&A session. I will be here together with Mirela to pick them up and address them during our discussion. So, like I said, the theme is around empowering and encouraging women across the automotive industry, including the leadership role. So this is what we will be discussing today. And we have to have some facts that we are looking at first. And we all know that women represent approximately 50% of the labor force at global level. But what's also important is to understand that only 25% are working in the automotive industry. So here is where we are. We will be debating and analyzing this aspect from 4 angles, and we will be looking at from an angle that will address how the industry is reshaping. Joe touched a bit earlier about the shift towards more electric, lots of technology embedded in the system, meaningful leadership. Then we will be looking also through the lens of sustainable industry, because automotive as well is moving towards more sustainable approach. Then we will be looking to the future of automotive industry. Is it change or disruption, and how does this affect the role of the women in this industry? And of course, last but not least is the education, which I would say is the basis for everything we are trying to do and everything we are trying to build going forward. And if we are to start with the first type of lens, which we are using to approach this topic, I would say that we are seeing both at global level, but also locally, that the automotive industry is shifting towards a more women inclusive sector. And I will invite, in the order that I have now on my screen, Simona Almăjan to actually share with us whether do we actually need this transformation in the automotive industry, Simona?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mirela, very much for inviting, and thank you, the Diplomat. Thank you, Monica, for asking. Yes, this is a need. And why is a need? Because as Joe already touched this a bit, and I would like more to elaborate on it, we are going through a disruption. It is a need. We are all waiting for the self-driving cars, and this will be a reality at some point in time. We don't know yet when. We don't know if it will be 2030 or will be later on. Probably in some geographical areas will be earlier. We all know that we expect in China, for example, but will be a moment in time that we will do our other extra activities. We will be investing into our learning and the development, personal activities, in sitting into the car, and the car will drive us alone from the point A to point B. But how to happen that? Because it's an incredible challenge into the technology that need to go there. Sensors will need to perceive completely the environment, right? We'll need a significant investment into safety and security will be needed. Joe already mentioned that now, okay, we don't talk anymore about the hardware part. We all know that also in our cars, the cars that we are driving currently, it is an incredible amount of software inside. And it is, you might have heard, I think everyone might have heard about this trend of software-defined cars. And maybe I can touch a bit about it for myself, being coming from an R&D center in Romania. NXP is currently developing software solutions for automotive, for all the domains, for electrification, for ADAS, for battery management systems, and so on. So it is an incredible need for increase in the amount of software. And why is that? Simply because the architecture in the car that exists today is not sustainable and will not be. That's why there is a shift in the architecture itself from ECUs, from domains into the zonal architecture. So the centralized architecture is being currently in development. And this is at the tier ones together with OEMs, but not only that, also tier twos are affected like NXP. We are all working together in order to develop our solutions, the solutions that will be plugged into this architecture. It is the complexity is increasing. The amount of the software and systems and hardware is increasing. So therefore, the workforce is needed, a higher amount of workforce is needed. And where I want to go is to the fact that diversity and inclusion is something that we really need. It is not something that we wish, it is nice to have. No, it's a must, because it is a real challenge that we are going right now in order to get and to find first of all the skills, and then the number of graduates, the workforce, right? Because the need is, we all know that the need is much higher than the actual workforce that exists on the market. Romania, Germany, everywhere is the same. So these are challenges.
Simona, you talked about the opportunities a lot and how great already the future of the industry is. And I would also like to touch a bit, continuing on what I asked Joe, because I really think it's extremely important for the topic that we are discussing. What attracted you personally to join this industry?
Technology, change, the fact that we are continuously learning. It's not that we stop now and we do a kind of a routine work. Technology is continuously advancing, and it's always coming something new. It's always new requirements, new job description, new profiles that are coming. The advancement, that is in one word, the advancement, and the fact that and I'm really proud on the fact that we can contribute to the world who will go through a significant transformation. We can together help and be there to live in a better world, greener, safer, with the technologies that we are developing.
Thank you, Simona. Monica, I see that you are also there, you are smiling, and I would like also to address the same topic. What attracted you to this industry? And of course, if you can also share your perspective in terms of how do you see this transformation towards a more inclusive industry?
Bună dimineața, good morning to everybody. I'm very happy to be together with so many impressive women leaders in automotive today to debate this point. And I would like as well to take the chance to thank to TheDiplomat for inviting me for this discussion. And I think my story is a little bit different to a certain extent, because to tell you the truth, I actually graduated Economics Academy in Bucharest. So to tell you the truth, the starting point is not so much science or technology, but look, after so many years, I don't want to count, I am here basically leading the part of the commercial activities of Bosch plant here in Jucu, in Cluj. And to tell you the truth, my story about women leadership, it was always about development, about looking all the time of a better me, about really having the courage to really not take, the easy path, yeah, and really looking back. all the jobs and opportunities that I had during the time were basically to go in the direction that I have not explored so far. Yeah, this is how come 5 years ago, basically, I could not resist. Yeah, the proposal to join Bosch company for a very challenging position, this one that I'm currently having in Cluj, for a very nice story about growth in technologies, growth in electronics. And basically what inspired me first, I think it was the Bosch story at the beginning. Yeah, so actually, Bosch is everywhere in our life for more than 135 years, and there were a lot of steps in the technological industry transformations where Bosch put a footprint, of course, with other companies. And this invented for life was really something that was inspiring and made me think that I can bring as well a little bit of my contribution in really this long-term inspiring for life proposition that Bosch is giving. Secondly, I think Joe was as well tackling that. In automotive industry, there are big opportunities for women, to have a chance to develop themselves. And here, of course, we can talk about blue collars, white collars. Of course, we can discuss about the leadership position. And for me, the possibility to get out of a simple financial world, because all my years in the back were just looking on the financials, and really now being part of operations, it's totally different. So I really see now a clear impact in the day-to-day activities. And for me, this is absolutely incredible. I as well see in this role that there is a chance for me to develop. And in here, I'm not talking about develop myself. I'm really talking about develop the young generations. And as well, I'm talking about developing the relationship with the partners as well, and really contributing to this development of the market. And I truly believe in the part of diversity from a lot of angles. Really, it's very rich, the diversity, putting together people with different perspectives, with different behaviors, with different experience. Really, this is a huge resort of innovative growth for everybody. But I as well truly believe in the power of women to really create this inclusive environment in which diversity is valued. Of course, maybe there are some challenges sometimes because we are not fighting for our voice. Maybe sometimes we are not feeling that we are well prepared. Maybe we are not ambitious enough or not having the courage to take the opportunity that is just in front of us. But we are really coming with such a big package of positive behavior, of positive leadership, of a very good and personal way of communication that we are having, the empathy. All these things are clear ingredients and important ingredients for really developing this inclusive a type of leadership. And I believe it is our role as women leaders to be, of course, a role model for the younger generations. It is as well the responsibilities of our companies to really ensure that diversity is really looking on the performance of everybody and giving this opportunity in terms of chances. And for that, I really see a lot of activities that I think they are running and they are really accelerating in this part of diversity and including leadership, where we are talking about the part of the trainings that we are really going and looking to all female or male professionals at the end of the day, even if we are discussing about development on the technical or soft skills, if we're talking about experts or leaders, if we're talking about juniors or blue collars or white collars, I think trainings are very important. But I believe we can as well sustain very well these young generations that they want to develop themselves, as well by offering a constant coaching and mentoring. And I believe that this is a very good trend. I think as well, I'm a mentee in a Bosch mentorship program for women in leadership position. And as well, myself, I'm finding as coach or mentor for the young generation here in the plant, women or male. I think this is very important to have the right talks, to really encourage and to experience at the personal level, things that can really unleash the potential of our colleagues. And I believe if all of us we are going to continue in that trend, we can really improve, what the current statistics is showing. I think, Ramona, you were starting at the beginning with some statistics. I think that we're worldwide. In Romania, we are standing a little bit much better, but as always, there is space for even better. So therefore, I think this kind of events can be as well other type of events to talk more about the women in leadership in automotive and not only.
Thank you, Monica. I think you've complemented very well the power of communication. So from one small, discussion, which let's say inspired Joe earlier to, various mentoring and coaching programs, which can have an impact across the board in organization. I think these are useful tools to encourage women to see the opportunities, the incredible opportunities in this sector, especially that the sector is moving towards technology-driven sector as opposed to a traditional sector. And now I would suggest that we move from Cluj to Sibiu, because we have the country very well represented this morning with us. And I will invite Sonok again to share with us what attracted her to the automotive industry, and how do you see, Sonok, what we have discussed earlier about this need to empower more women in the automotive sector.
Okay, good morning, buona dimineața. So, of course, I think this type of event alone, where we have even opportunity, even for me, to meet fellow women professionals in the country, is also a great experience and a lot of reflection on my part. And I see how many of these leaders here also share a lot of the views that I was having for the women leadership. And, I'm nodding my head because, yes, that is exactly how I feel about how we should empower the women in this type of, even in automotive, right? We see automotive is more changing from more, we don't see it as large mechanical parts anymore. We see a lot of interaction with different electronic controls. We see a lot of involvement in the software, but I wanted to at least make this point because it is such an interesting point. Since this is the Women's Month that we're also celebrating together. So I saw the fact that the first programmer in the world was Ada Lovelace. So I think everybody knows, right? She was a mathematician and she wrote the first machine algorithm. Wonderful. And I was thinking, the way that we're also developing our products here, more and more, we're getting to more of this software-driven type of products. And I had to Google. I said, okay, what kind of traits does a great programmer need? Okay, first, high patience. Oh, women are pretty patient. Second, ability to pay attention to details. Another fact. Third, degree of creativity. Yes. And then the fourth is desire to learn. And all these characteristics really fit to the future woman in the automotive industry as well. So I was highly motivated that, that this type of job opportunities are also opening up, that we're not really just building big machineries, and we really need this creativity and innovation. When I first started automotive, my intention was not to just throw in automotive. I had a similar story like Joe, where there was an event. I was going to school. I studied mechanical engineering, but there was that's called an externship. You just go and visit a local company, or not local, or even cities nearby, and see what they do. So I came across a plant in a small city. I would have never known that it existed, but they were building 1 million parts a year, automotive parts, electronic. And I was fascinated with the manufacturing processes and the technologies that this small town had. And that intrigued in my interest. And when I was graduating, they sent me a message and said, oh, we know you're graduating pretty soon. We would like to offer you some type of rotational program that we are currently having in the location. And at that time, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to continue with my technical background or do something different. And this rotation program really allowed me to venture out, not in just what I studied, but venture out early in my career to find out what suits me naturally. And I discovered that I always thought I was a shy, quiet, would like to work alone. But I discovered this hidden passion in me of working with people and working and developing and seeing how the people that I mentor are also advancing in their career. And I loved it. So this rotation helped me to really find different perspectives. And from then on, I continued my career with Continental, the complete 18 years, where I always felt I had something else to do next, something else to learn. And here I am in Sibiu, a beautiful city. I love this city. And it's a perfect location to raise my 3 young children. And in this location, I'm highly proud of almost 4,000 employees, where they started 18 years ago with only 30. And they grew successfully. And they built the competence in the people, our people built this competence to be recognized also globally, that at a corporate level that we're continuing to invest in Sibiu, in Romania. And so I'm highly inspired being with you all here today, and that we should also continue to be an inspiration to our other ladies in the next generation. And I want to also give this example. So when I was first working at this plant, at first I thought, okay, I'm going to start a family. If I start a family, then I need to choose a job that's not so highly demanding, because I want to be a good mother. And as I was thinking in this kind of concept, I saw a manager, a female manager. She was very petite, small. One out of actually 20 other managers, she was only female. But she had a very strong presence. And I asked her, I was like, how do you balance your home and you're so awesome here as a manager? And she said, Sanok, have a realistic expectation. And sometimes you need to accept help, even though they're not perfect. So she used an example. I like to fold my towels in a certain way. Okay, but if I get help, they will fold it the other way. But hey, the job at home was getting done. So she said, accept those type of help that is still may not be perfect, but that could help you to buy time to spend time with your family and do this type of work and life balance. And I also truly want to be that kind of inspiration and support to the ladies in the next generation, that it is still possible to have a career of work and life balance, and the fulfillment you receive from your own career advancement and from how your kids are raising at the time. I think this is really rewarding at the end.
Thank you, Sonok. You anticipated, what we are going to discuss earlier, because the balance and how can you also have a private and business life, how the balance we will be discussing. But I think you mentioned some very important points in terms of the attractiveness of the industry, and I found quite interesting the kind of skills that a programmer, let's say rounded technology specialist has, and I would simply like to repeat them because I find them quite interesting and inspiring for any woman who would like to pursue a career in automotive industry, and maybe not only. So you said the high patience, attention to details, creativity, and desire to learn. So this is something that we should consider. I also took note on the rotation program that you have in the firm. We heard earlier from Monica about coaching and mentoring. So now I would like also to invite Alexandra to share with us what personally attracted her to the industry, and how this discussion towards empowering women to automotive sector is from her perspective and from her company's perspective.
Good morning. First of all, thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much, Mirela. I was honored. Yeah, starting with my own story. I'm an engineer, a mechanical engineer. And in my last year of university, I start to question myself what I would like to do in life. And I found out about quality. So then I made a master degree in quality management. And if you're looking to automotive industry, quality is really, really important. And then I said, yeah, okay, this I want to be, while this brings you a lot of challenges and this make you be better, while you can learn so many new things. So for me, then was clear that I want automotive. Then when I came one interview to Marquardt when they open ECB, and I have seen what kind of technology they have, how deep it's implemented, the continuous improvement processes, and the desire to optimize and to innovate. I said, yeah, for sure, I need to be here. So I started in Marquardt in 2006. I'm still here. Meanwhile, I changed the positions from quality, now I'm operations. For sure, this will not be done. Probably another rotation will be done in the future. And I'm still proud to be here. And I still think that I have done a very good decision at that time. Speaking about women in automotive, so I think that women really have the capacity to bring in any matter fresh, new outlooks and perspective, because they are able to enhance teamwork, and we all know that they are accustomed to multitasking. So as we say, wearing multiple hats. And yeah, in a woman life, we all know that wearing different hats, it's often a common occurrence. We should balance our careers, household, and taking up the wand of parental guidance along with many other experiences. So I would say that we can conclude that in any organization, we should be happy if we have women in leading roles, because their capabilities and abilities are undeniable. I think a lot of company and Marquardt is really doing a lot in that. It's offering a lot of programs of internship and coaching, and in order to provide to new generation possibilities to increase their capacity and to find their roles. Automotive is bringing you so many opportunities. So you can be a programmer, a software programmer, and why not? While as we know, and we already heard from my peers, the women have all the needed quality on that. But they can work also in producing the part. They can work in quality. So a woman can do whatever she wants. Doesn't matter in which department or in which area she will work, as long as she has the passion and the desire to do all that.
Thank you, Alexandra. I think I quite like what you said about fresh perspective, multitasking also. Although we have to pay attention and to take all the help that we can get, like Konok said earlier. I also take the fact that technical and very technical, let's say, jobs are not something that will push away women. And I think this is extremely important. You said something important about wearing different hats, and I would like to build on what you said about this, because I also see some questions in the chat, and they are along these lines, along the lines of when you are in a leadership role, you really need to make sure that you are balancing your hats, your personal hat and your business hat. And I think it's important on one hand to discuss on how to engage more women in leadership roles. If you have some, let's say, specific examples from your industry to share from your, maybe not from the industry, but from your company, to share, maybe both locally or globally on one hand, and on the other hand, if there are some specific, because we've talked about competencies and skills that we see in the automotive industry, and some of them they may be more natural to women, but while we are progressing towards leadership roles, if there are some soft and hard skills that women should take into consideration in the automotive sector in Romania, it's actually one of the questions in the chat. And I will start with Simona, and I will follow the same, but please feel free to jump if you feel the need.
Yeah, so Ramona, you mentioned something about how do we ensure on the internal side that we, are we helping the current colleagues to want to go up on the career path, and also you mentioned something about attraction. So how do we attract from the outside more women? And maybe I would like to, I can also give some concrete examples for what we are doing in NXP here. What I really believe is that this needs to be ingrained in the company culture. We need to have, as part of the overall culture, a change or a program, some awareness program for employees, for recruiters, and for management related to improvement, related to increasing the gender diversity. So this is, I am always talking about DI when I'm talking about this, because it's not only about diverse thinking, it's also, there are more aspects inside which are valued by women. So having a culture, as part of this culture in place, an awareness program which is spread to employees, so our colleagues would know that they would have these opportunities in place because of this program, because as part of these programs, they are talking to other women from the company who are the role models. So again, it's about talking. Let's talk about what we are doing. Let's talk about the challenges. Let's see what are the solutions. Let's talk about the work-life balance challenge. Then it is about what a company can offer us here to support, and especially with the COVID situation. And I think we all struggled, especially at the end of the first year of work from home, we struggled with the balance. Yes, and many companies, including NXP, reviewed and introduced more opportunities for NXP to support the teams in order to, in case there is imbalance coming, the companies offering support. So, for example, here, well-being programs that are in place where the employees are receiving personal development trainings, of course, optional if they want. They have the calendars in their on the monthly basis, trainings on how to balance, how to cope with difficult situation, how to balance the life, the work with the home activities, and so on. How to handle relations, for example, in general, not necessarily work-related. Of course, the opportunity to have a flexible working environment. This is something that we want, the next generation, the Generation Z and the millennials want. This is what the women want. Because in this way, if we provide a flexible work environment, the opportunity to work from home, to go in the middle of the day to bring the kids from the kindergarten, for example, that it is a good sign. And I think if the women would know that, probably will be encouraged also to, some of the worries would move away, would be encouraged to apply or to really want a leadership position. This is on what can we do internally. But of course, besides this, I really believe that the rotation programs, which Sonok, I think, mentioned today, are a key point here. And not only rotation, being able to move people from one job to another from the personal development perspective, but also having really competency centers in the company. NXP is working to put in place competency center like an academy where our new colleagues will have the opportunity to develop themselves as NXP, provided that they don't have the the required skills currently. So we can, because in the past we have recruited, mostly we have targeted technical universities, engineering, mathematics, but in general, and we looked for people, of course, that was the easiest way to look for people with a small amount of trainings to be onboarded. But we will not be able to afford that, and we need to get into a mode when we give the opportunity to everyone, like a finance guy, an economist, if they wants to switch to programming, to do that in-house at NXP, go through a 3-6 weeks learning program, and then being hired. This is an opportunity also for women. We all know that we have, in terms of graduation, there are more women into non-technical, graduating from non-technical university. So if the technical companies have this kind of program in place, that they are actually building all the skills in-house, this would be a great help. But and here I think another element, it is the employer branding. We as employers need to make sure that we are talking about this. We are right there at the universities as role models, talking about all that we have in-house and how can we help, and not only about talking. It's a face-to-face communication, and also receiving inputs from the students, inputs from the high school teenagers. So because university might be a bit late, I think we need to go also at the high school and talk to people, talk to ladies, talk to everyone there, explain what we are doing, explain the benefits they would have if they would direct their efforts into a certain domain like automotive. And yeah, I think that if we have this in place, I think we are on the right path into attracting in the future more talent and higher diversity.
Thank you, Simona. And I would like to challenge a bit more, because I see that there are questions in the chat. You have a leadership role right now. I think it's important to understand how you manage to keep a balance between your two hats, the personal hat and the business hat. If you can share with us some of your personal ways of looking at this aspect.
I think it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone to have this balance, and it's not perfect. There are moments when we feel the balance, but there are moments when we feel and we acknowledge that now we have an issue and we have to refocus and set back. Important is that we are having a good planning. It's a time management in the end, and we are able to say, no, now I'm stopping. I stop because I have to go and stay with the kids. Even if after a few hours, or we go back to the emails, or the next day in the morning, no, it's important to say, no, I have a schedule. The workday starts at 8, 7 at 8, bring the kids to school, come to work, then go and pick up the kids. Spend with the kids 2-3 hours. If needed, we can work 1 hour more. This is not an issue, but we are able to, and we are able to plan the day in such a way that the family is happy. And of course, we are able to do the work at home. And this also, we need to be careful at work and to make sure that we have the right organizational structure and staffing in place for this balance. Because we can be diligent with our day, but if at work we don't have enough people, and there are people who do overtime, this is not good as well. At NXP, for example, after the first day of pandemic, we have increased a lot the positions, and we went concretely in the team where we have seen this happening, and we basically injected regs in the system, and we hired more exactly from these reasons to ensure balance.
Thank you, Simona. You've tackled also on let's say, change and disruption of the automotive industry, and not only. And you made a very good point about flexibility and how these last 2 years of pandemic showed us that flexibility can also be an opportunity to attract more women into the workforce, because through good planning, like you said, we can better, let's say, manage these two hats that we have. Monica, would you like to also share with us how you personally manage these two hats, and also how you see your company, which are the ways to better empower women towards the leadership roles, since we are talking about these challenges?
Yeah, actually, this question I'm receiving quite often, how we are managing to balance that. I'm not sure if I'm holding the key, because it's very personal, the answer to this question. And therefore would be a point of really reflecting, each of us, checking, understanding what kind of infrastructure, we have around us to support. I think this topic has been as well shared a little bit before, and there is not a unique solution. So therefore, each of us will need to find. Me, I'm not sure if I'm believing in balance in short term. So I'm really looking in this balancing, much more in a period of time. So I'm really taking care that I'm reaching a balance, in a meaningful period, in order to be able to manage, to jungle with all these challenges that we are currently having. And I do believe in not the quantity of time. I really believe in the quality of time that I'm spending with my husband, with my parents, with my kid. And it was really proven, especially that I'm in a very interesting setup. So my family is in Bucharest and I'm commuting weekly to Cluj. And I'm doing that for 5 years now. And before, I was traveling quite a lot. So at least from my personal experience, I can say that the balance has been lost more in the moments when I'm not present for the important moments, when I was not paying attention to small but important details for my family, and about being present but somehow not into the topics. So therefore I reflect, I looked where I did wrong, and then I worked again in order to really find this equilibrium. And therefore I think this equilibrium is very personal and has been tackled properly by each of us. And of course, that is not only about the family always, it is as well about the well-being of us as a human. In one moment, we also need to take care to balance the things properly, because people are really looking at us as being role models, as being always passionate about what we're doing, having fully energy about how we are managing our agendas, And another tip that I saw now, having as well in the job a lot of topics to tackle, I think the first thing that I'm doing in this planning, I think, is the part of prioritizing the topics. And what I see successful, I'm trying to kill the noise. I don't know if you are having these topics on your table, So topics are appearing like they are urgent, they are important, they are, I don't know, tremendous, disruptive, for the operational. But when we are starting, to ask, one or two questions, but meaningful questions, you are just going to realize that they are a noise for the moment, not they are not important. So then you can drop them from today, find the right setup to really approach them much better, much more effective, and much less disruptive for your agenda and your colleagues' agenda. So I think this I learned, and I'm really doing repetitively. And it is nice to see that as well. My team started, to question themselves, Is it for today? Is it really for today? Or how can we tackle it, in the most effective way? So at least this I can share from my personal experience. Then I think regarding this part of diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think now these terms are everyday words, you know. So all companies or all big companies, multinational companies, are really having this embedded in their values, you know. So they are living it. Yeah, it's not like at the beginning we are trying to invent things. Yeah, so there are more or less the same type of approaching. From time to time, there are certain readaptation, let's say. But I really think that when we are really talking about diversity, it is about, again, giving the chance for performance. It's about not men, women, no other type of diversity. It is by pure performance. This is running the businesses. And therefore, businesses and performance, it's about hard knowledge, yeah, professional knowledge, and as well the soft ones. And the soft ones are as well the ones that are leading us, and they are important for us being as the leaders. And therefore, I think we are not going to find too many recipes, more or less the same, is this type of junior manager programs that Bosch is developing, in which we really look to young professional, very good professional, that they really know where to go, but then they just need a little bit of touch of the soft skills, how to really take advantage of this knowledge that they are having. And by that, they are as well discovering through this program and rotation program, I think as well it was mentioned, how to cope with diverse teams, with different challenges, and that is giving you much more force, you know, and it's as well kind of fine tuning the behaviors that you are currently having. I believe that I'm talking from a plant perspective. So here we have blue colors and white colors, and I'm very proud about our Romanian ladies, yeah, that are really part of the plant, because in terms of gender diversity, we are really balanced. And when we are talking about leadership, I really like to say that leadership is as well in the shop floor as it is in the office. Yeah, and there are really qualities that were mentioned before that are visible in the both type of environments, and it is very important to look in both and to give the chance to the women in the shop floor and offices to become the leaders. So therefore, they have the chance to enroll here, inclusion a lot of first line leaders role. This is a step-by-step type of development on the leadership side, in which a lot of awareness, a lot of reflection, a lot of introspection and communication are really tackled. And of course, with the seniority of the people, it's as well a step-by-step program to be developed. I think this is in a very structural way of training. I believe as well something very important, it's for us the feedback culture. It's not only about what you are training or what you are thinking, you know, about yourself. I'm a good leader, you know, I'm perfect, I'm beautiful, everybody loves me. But surprise is that it's not always the same. So we are really believing that, and we are really running this impact leadership type of programs in the entire plant, again, focusing both blue colors and white colors in the leadership roles, in order to really get the feedback from their teams, and then having the possibility to work with our HR colleagues as well with external companies to fine tune, you know, those points that make them different and make them a better leader, can really encourage them and their associates to follow them. Of course, I think in terms of leadership, it's as well about this role model and really sharing between us as leaders. And in here as well, I'm very proud of something a little bit different. We have an organization, Women at Bosch, that we are really, I think, running successfully again here in the plant, and we are really having a lot of events through the year in which is putting the women in the center, and they are really allowing the ladies to exchange their concern, but as well to learn a lot of information from other leaders that want to share. There is as well an idea of sharing between different women associations from different companies and different industries, because at the end of the day, as I mentioned, with women, we are as well prepared as the others, but we just need to have the courage and the ambitions when we are seeing the opportunities to say we are ready, yeah. And these kind of things as well have to be developed. And sometimes this is not something that you are really taking from class training, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you, Monica. Very comprehensive. I noted down on a personal note in balancing the two hats that I was asking earlier, the quality of time, more important, time to reflect. And also important is to look at ourselves and to the well-being of me, because if I am okay, then my family is okay, my team is okay, my company is okay, and I would dare to say the society is okay. Then you've also anticipated also, and it's very good that we are anticipated and mixing all these four themes, all these four lenses that we are looking at the topic today. And you talked about diversity and inclusion, and also about programs that you have in the company. You've mentioned about the feedback culture. You said the importance of building leadership skills through impact leadership type of programs, which are important, and is one of them. And I'm sure that many companies are doing that, but it's important that it is also key on your agenda. Also, this initiative, Women at Bosch, and again, I'm hearing the need to inspire courage and to give all the things to the ladies to make sure that they exercise this courage and they believe in in themselves. Sonok, again, the same questions to you as well.
Okay, so from the company attractiveness for like female leadership, I think what we mentioned about the flexibility, and we also have hybrid work, and a lot of these things we were able to really practice it in real life during pandemic and realize it works and it's effective still, or could be very effective. So that was very important to do. And for me also, when I came to Romania, I also saw very good maternity leaves. And of course, coming from US, your maternity leaves is around 6 to 8 weeks. And I saw this as a really good advantage also to bring women talents in, to give them also freedom to plan for their family, and they get to choose if they want to stay the full time or they get to shorten it. And from my perspective, you're not a bad employee if you take the full time. And you're not a bad mom if you decide to shorten your and from my experience alone, like I said, it was about 6 to 8 weeks maternity leave. I also see from our culture that it's still culture within Continental, that it is accepted that you have this type of personal choice, even sabbatical leaves, that sometimes you need a break away and you could come back and reinvest your time in your career and your support. And I really appreciated that. And I actually experienced this myself. I was about 8 months pregnant for my second child, and there was a job opportunity open for executive position. And the person who was leaving was going to leave just a few weeks before I had to start in my maternity leave. But I went through the interview process, and finally my boss came and said, okay, I made the final decision. We are going to offer the job to you. And in my natural self, I had to remind him, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant and I'm going to go on my maternity leave. But he said, you're still the best fit, and we will make an accommodated plan while you're away. So of course, in the US case, I was only away for 7 weeks, but still I was very I appreciated the fact that, these things didn't matter. That in some cultures in different countries, it sometimes still matters. And so I think I like to see that didn't matter in the culture of Continental. And then I also saw that here in Romania after 2 years or a few months, team will come back and they're right on track of where they left and they could continue and advance in their career. I think this is very important for a female to understand that. And then we talked about a lot of different things, and I shared with a lot of information that Simona, Monica, everyone has shared. And what is important for female, I think, is this networking, because sometimes we feel like we're alone. And when you get into this type of networking, which Continental also offered, I was able to participate in network and realize women in executives or women in senior executives, that they share the same, sometimes the same fears, some same strength, same challenges. And you're able to really talk through and sometimes get great advices on how to do things differently. But I did agree with Monica as far as family and home balance. It is unique. It is unique for each family. For me, for my children and my family, it was important that I had to be close to someone who could support when I'm not physically there. So we made a decision to live closer to what I call babysitter, which is my side of the family. And I drove almost 60 kilometers to my work every day. But it was valuable to me that my children had someone that will love and care for them when I'm not physically there. And then, of course, when I am there, I am giving them the full quality time. And it gives me pleasure when my 6-year-old comes to me and say, "You are the best mom ever." And that, for some reason, it just brings me pure joy, because even though I know I'm not, but my kids are not missing anything. So that really helps me and feel rewarded that, at least I'm trying to balance my career and my life at home. And I think the kids also understand, and the family understands, that sometimes your time needs to be with work, especially when there's urgent cases or things that needs to be done. They understand, and they also understand when it's time for them.
Thank you, Sonok. I think, again, the quality of time and reward and appreciation, as long as we communicate and we strive to have this balance. I also noted, the flexibility and the choice that we have in the local labor market, which sometimes we underappreciate, and we are not comparing. And it's good that you are sharing with us how stretched other countries can be from this perspective. I think you also mentioned, and it was a very good point which we talked also a bit earlier, about the fact that it's not because you are women that you need to be in a leadership role, but because, first of all, you are a very good performance. So your example actually proved to us that what mattered was your performance and your technical skills, and you're doing best at what you know to do first. And of course, being a woman comes, on top of that. But that's extremely important. And you also touched the point about the biases which exist. And I know that I'm to moderate this panel, but I cannot help myself in sharing myself also with you a personal story. So when I took over the leadership of KPMG in Romania more than 4 years ago, I got various, let's say, congratulations, and I had an alumni who congratulated me from Germany, and he said, "Look, congratulations, very well done. I really don't understand how this country in the eastern part of Europe, how in these countries, companies, you can get to leadership role so quickly, and on top of that, you are a woman with children, and you can get leadership roles." So again, it's biases, like you've mentioned. There is an example of bias which exists. But what I say, and I'm pretty sure that you would all agree with me, this is something that I don't see in the Romanian market. These biases, I never came across them, especially in the industry that I'm in. And I think we should be very grateful that we are living in such an environment, and inspirational, again, for the girls and for the ladies who want to pursue a career in automotive, and not only in the automotive, but in a leadership role, I would would like to say. Thank you, Alexandra. If you can also share with us on these two topics.
Yeah, so first of all, what I've learned during my career is, or let's say during my life, is that I'm not perfect, and probably no one is expecting to be so beside me. So for sure, I miss some events from my daughter's life, as for sure I miss something from my work. But when I'm at home, I'm really at home, and when I'm at work, I put all my energy and my knowledge to bring benefits to Marquardt. And for me, this is the key of success, to do our best and to be really present where we are. If we are blaming ourselves that we could do better there or there, for sure, for this, it's a continuous improvement process. But we should really be kind with ourselves, and we should really award ourselves and thank ourselves for everything what we are doing. And this I encourage every woman which is in automotive or other domain to do. And with all this perspective, I think that if we are surrounded by open-minded men or women, we have all the chances to succeed. I would say, let's say my personal story shows, my father always told me that I could be all that I wanted if I work for that. So this approach made me never think that I could be anything less than a man. Therefore, I acted with courage without being intimidated that I'm a woman. And for sure, the same, we are raising our daughter. And I'm sure that this is really the correct approach in women empowerment. While the more children, both girls and boys, are encouraged to follow their dreams and to treat with empathy and respect the dream of others, the more the gender disparities will be diminished. I think we are living interesting times. For sure, COVID brought us a lot of troubles, but brought us also a lot of opportunities. Right now, it's even easier for women, for mothers to work from home. So the companies, as Marquardt is doing, is offering a lot of possibility to work remote. Also, the women have the chance to try part-time jobs. They have the time the possibility to try internship programs, so they can see what means that and see if really fits for them. And I think it's extremely important to see a woman on higher position, on management position, in order to be encouraged to look for careers on this industry, or to be encouraged that it is place for women here, and for sure they have a chance to get these positions.
Thank you, Alexandra. So let's acknowledge that we are not perfect, although we all try to be perfect. Let's be kind to ourselves, be courageous, and also make sure that our daughters they understand what and how we are seeing. They understand our challenges, and they also understand how we tackle our opportunities in here. Now, I would like to have a swift move towards education, because I see a lot of questions as well along these lines, and we know that promoting education and career path in automotive industry stands also as a priority across this industry. And I know that we were talking earlier about the ability to learn, and how this is a great skill for women. Now, my first question would be, how do you see the role of education and promotion of technical schools among young women? And I would also like to start with Simona, using the same flow.
Definitely education is very important. So And not only that, I think we need to get more involved into, we as a companies to get more involved into discuss at the root, so at the high school, not only at the university level. So we help the high school teenagers to find out what do we expect and what the opportunities that they could have. I would say that now in our times when the skills, when the market is so dynamic, we need to think about and face the fact that we might not get and have the skills that we need on the market. Also, we need to be prepared for that and have training programs, academies, competency centers that are where we are taking the persons and train in-house. Education still remains very important, and not only for for what we offer to the potential candidates during the interviews and discussion. Education is very important in-house. So in-house inside the company, we need to take care of the people, and we need to find out first what they want and what are the domains where they want to develop. Maybe they want to rotate, after 1 or 2 years they want to do something else, and they need to know that there is this opportunity in the company. They don't need to look outside. And this should be part of the continuous coaching, one-to-one discussions with the managers, with the coach persons assigned as part of the mentorship programs. And we need to be able, as a managers here, and I think this is where managers should focus more on coaching. So this is what it is, the style of leadership of the future. It's coaching through questions to find out what our employees really want, and depends on what they want, we offer what we have, and we give the freedom, we give the opportunity and options on what they could develop in our companies. So yes, it is very important. The education is very important, and we need to see it as a continuous thing.
That's clear, and I would like to challenge you a bit more, because there is a question which links very well to what you have said, Simona. One of our attendees is asking how are technical universities and vocational schools addressing the promotion of women in the automotive industry? What should be done more in this respect?
I think there is to be done more in this domain, given the fact that we in the companies do not have the currently balanced rate. So this is what they have to work more on that. But what I'm emphasizing is that we can do more collaborating and partnering with vocational schools, with universities, in order for the current students. They are aware of that.
Okay.
And another aspect is that, talking about education and universities, speaking about jobs and what we offer in the companies for both genders, it is about for them to know, of course through us, to know the job profiles that we have. Because if it's a technical university software department, for example, they are preparing for software development or for software tester. But the companies should know, the universities should know that besides these jobs, we offer also others. And they need, and we can, they need to explain to the students the fact that there are also other opportunities. There is diversity in terms of profiles on the market.
Thank you, Simona. So basically, the answer would be to our question from the audience. It's not a recipe, it's not a very, let's say, direct recipe, but the key stands between the collaboration from the technical university, the vocational schools, and the private sector to enhance more and to make this industry attractive to potential candidates and students. Monica, if you also would like to comment from Bosch perspective, how do you see the education, and also if you can also share your views on the question that was addressed.
Yeah. So basically, I will start by saying that we are not starting, too bad. Yeah. In what sense I want to say that? Because first of all, culturally, I think women in Romania, but at the end of the day, used to have an impact, and they are part of the workforce here in Romania. This is one. Secondly, I think the technical schools, universities especially, are very well known in preparing good engineers or a good young generations. First thing, I don't know if the audience know, but as well there are some statistics behind to back, let's say, what I'm saying. First of all, Romania, I think we are on the 14th rank in what means women taking science, technology, mathematics, and any kind of studies into this part. And for especially IT, we are in top 3 in Europe of really having women as engineers. So I'm not saying it is good or bad. I'm just saying that we are not starting too bad. Yeah. As well, this has a potential. We are as well seeing the potential exists, but we are really seeing as well when we are going and talking in the universities or in the technical schools, we are really seeing a nice spread of women as well in these technical fields. We are running here in Bosch a dual school for some years now. We have some years of apprentices that finished our schools, women and men, actually young women and young men that then joined the plant activities, and not only. We are running with universities here in Cluj quite a nice programs, in really exchanging, showing our plant, showing our activities, discussing and elaborating in order to give them a little bit of more flavor, what exactly the engineer is standing for real, how different or how close it is the actual engineer versus what they are studying in the universities. We have as well this internship program that is helping them, by rotating in the plant to really understand which is the technical domain in which they would really like to have a full-time job at the beginning. And of course, by doing this kind of discussion, I think it is our role of companies in the part of the private school to have as well a much more active way in really calibrating a little bit and exchanging as well with the national education system. In what sense? We were discussing about transformation. So transformation is as well going to require new competencies for the future. We really need to ensure that these good technical universities are keeping up in terms of the subjects that they are teaching with what it is really required on the market. So therefore we can really fresh them up with what are the competencies needed on the companies or business side, and at the same time we can as well support them in really equipping their laboratories. And this is something that Bosch is doing quite nicely from some time with the technical universities here in Cluj, by supporting as well the engineers to have the possibility to do their practical laboratories on real equipment. So it's a little bit bringing a bit of the actual business technical life in their universities. I think this is helping a lot. If this is enough, I would say that is never enough, considering that this part of automotive is going to grow. And I think it's going to grow quite nicely. There is a lot of growth paths here in Romania. I'm seeing as well from my peer colleagues here sharing very ambitious plan. So we really need to jointly, entering in these kind of programs with the educational partners in order to really ensure that we are going to have future generations that are well equipped. On the other side, I think it is as well something that has been tackled before. We are as well responsible, yeah, to take the young generation from the universities and to really help them, yeah, in getting the competencies that might be needed, yeah, in the real life. And I believe this kind of sprint camps or boot camps, you know, can be always something that can fine tune, yeah, or even enhance some of the expertise that they are getting, maybe some from previous jobs or from some universities. On the other hand, I think education is very important. And when we are really talking about the education, in the same, you know, statistics we were discussing that we are not starting too bad. But on the other hand, in the same statistics are sharing that in Romania, there are as well not some good news when we are talking about school dropout. Yeah, when we are really talking about children or parents that don't have the capabilities to keep the children in the schools. We as well hear that it's about the passion, and then the topic is when and how do I find the passion? How can I have fun, you know, in the early stage with some topics in order to have, you know, this kind of inspiring stories that I can share later and can bring me to the, you know, to the final position when I'm going to be a grown up. And I believe as well in here, us as businesses, we can support. And really, we are now engaging through the Bosch Foundation in something that is very meaningful on the part of education. So we are really having several pillars for our foundation, but now the most important one that we really like to focus on is education. And this is about how can we ensure that when we are talking about children that do not have the possibility, you know, to do different type of additional trainings, they have the possibility to do that. How can we bring a little bit of technology, a little bit of IT, a little bit of robotics, depending on their either age, you know, already in the school and in other type of activities, because these small activities, you know, they can really hook, you know, this young generation, you know, for the techniques or mini technicus of today, for the techniques of tomorrow. So I really believe that it's nice to start, yeah, and I believe all together we can make the difference, and definitely we are going to make the difference. Yeah.
Thank you, Monica. Again, building on these common projects between the university and the private sector, and you gave a lot of examples of programs that you are having in Bosch. Sono, how do you see the education role and also this specific interaction between private and universities and vocational schools?
Yes, I think industries like us, like large industries, it is part of our responsibility also to develop the talents or future talents of our organization. And when we already show the competence level of Romania, there's also investment or things we can do to even more bringing in the talents from the next generation. And as Monica mentioned, I think a lot of the companies like us are doing this type of dual school, partnering with high school and universities, even having ambassadors for the universities of the employees who are working for us. They will go and speak in the university that they were in, that attended, and then talk about their career life and the technology they're working with. And of course, the internship was also mentioned, great opportunity for them to see real life. It is very important, I think, in general. And I think Romania already, I was very surprised with a high number of female in the workforce. And now I kind of understand better after Monica explained it. But I also think it's people like us inspiring the next generation, our children, our nieces and nephews and so forth, that there is really not a division of female and male work, but really look for and focus what are the key talents of these children and what can we work on to help them develop those talents to something that they can do passionately in the future. So even in Continental here, CVU, we even start earlier organizing tech clubs for small children. And one thing also I noticed here, and it was also part of the benefit package when I first came here, we have a kindergarten for our employees. And I always like to speak about this, and especially when we have visitors around, that we're already investing in the future generation of our employees. coming from the kindergarten. But I think it's definitely important. The education has to come from the school benches.
Thank you so much. Kindergarten, so the education does not need to focus only at university level or vocational school, but has to start very, very early. And the example that you gave, kindergarten and tech clubs are extremely relevant. Alexandra, can you also share with us on the topic of education, how your company is tackling this aspect, and how do you do you see private and universities going together on this?
Yeah, gladly. So it's clear that educated women can more easily stand up against the gender bias as they have improved their decision-making capabilities, and that the education is the key to turn weaknesses into a strength. Then the technical schools enables to link workforce development and employment strategies with market requirements and current opportunities. So we at Marquardt, we start since years already to have different kind of this kind of vocational, so dual schools in different kind of technologies. We have multiple collaboration with universities, even workshops to discuss what would be the required competencies on the future, and the university can adapt then their curriculum. So really a lot of actions in this direction. So on this perspective, I think Sibiu is let's say a lucky city, as a lot of companies invested on that, and everyone is doing their best to attract the new generation and to offer the best conditions on. I think it's important to show to these young people several opportunities, and then they should choose based on what they have seen and what they have lived, what would be the what they would like to do, because doing something that you like for sure bring you higher satisfaction, and it's not just a job. You are going there with passion, with desire to improve, and for sure afterwards you can promote.
Thank you, Alexandra. I think it's extremely relevant what you said. We've been through various lenses of our conversation, but I would like to open a bit before we wrap up with our event. On the current challenges that we are facing. So I was saying at the beginning of our debate that it's more than 2 years than the pandemic started, and we are still finding ways to accommodate with this new reality, which for sure will stay with us for a long time. We saw yesterday that some of the restrictions have been eased, and this is a good sign. There was a good sign in terms of flexibility, and this had we all saw that this has had a positive and will have a positive impact on women being more attracted by the automotive industry. But since 2 weeks ago, we are facing another challenge, like the pandemic challenge was not enough, a challenge which is unprecedented, and it's affecting all of us at various levels, at personal level, because we all want to help. Sometimes we want to help, we don't know how to help. At business level, economic level, and of course, all the value chain that our industry is facing. I think my question is, it's a very open question to all of you. How do you see this conflict affecting your business? How do you see this conflict affecting your teams? Do you see any let's say, do you have any changes in the strategy going forward? Because we heard that there are some companies also in the automotive sector that are planning to switch and to find other locations for their business. So I think it's, as I said, it's a open question, and I think it's important to share what we are facing these days, and also from a leadership perspective, it would be important to hear your views. Simona, would you like to start? We can't hear you. If you can unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes. So yes, unfortunately, we are going through difficult times. So after pandemic is not even over, and we have a new challenge. And we all have to be strong, because we don't have visibility to the future. We don't know how this will be developed. We know that right now something has started. We are or not impacted, depends. Companies more or less are being impacted. If they have some activities in Russia, they probably were. Also on NXP side, there was a small impact, I would say, which we are trying currently to mitigate, some teams which we have there, and now we are actually, it was not an opportunity to hand over anything. We are just mitigating and doing the best we can to continue and make the business running as before. We have to be here and support our teams in whatever this conflict will develop. We have to be here and encourage. It is, and also from a humanitarian aid perspective, we are doing what every company is doing to support the refugees and to be there and to help as much as we can. Our help is critical in this situation, especially our help as leaders.
Thank you, Simona. Monica?
Yeah, unfortunately, we are living really unprecedented times now, because we discuss about the pandemic, but somehow us in automotive, and especially automotive electronics, I think our life has been a complete montagne russe for some time now, because it was pandemic, it was, and it is still the semiconductor crisis, which is putting a significant impact on our business. And now, unfortunately, it's this Ukrainian situation. And I think in here always there are two perspectives. So one, it is through the part of the human, and I think always Bosch as a company, as here in Cluj, we've been always close to the impact on the people side. And therefore, I think from the first moments when we really heard about this situation, and especially the high number of Ukrainian people that are really cross-border in Romania, passing or not necessarily. So we immediately, we find the energy here in the team, and as well colleagues from other countries want immediately, to support. They didn't know in what way to send goods, to send money. How can they really support that? So now I think the first focus linked to that was, how can we put all this positive energy together in a meaningful way, for the community, for people there at the border, because that was the first entry point. And somehow, I know Cluj is 400 something kilometers far away from the borders. We start immediately to get in touch as well with the points there, and to really support, and we are continuing to support as well. The Bosch Foundation was the tool that as well support us to raise as well the right funding in order to really support our partners to really make a difference, at the beginning at the borders. Now, of course, unfortunately, it's not only about the borders. We are as well seeing a kind of reaching the limit for accommodation in Cluj. So therefore, now we want to team up with the community in here in order to really have a meaningful impact. And this is going to continue, and this is the priority that as well we are having for these people, then for our people, in order to support them the best, to be able to answer to any kind of question that they have, and to coagulate as well this support that has been already given, and as well Bosch was supporting as well by funding, at the end of the day, this humanitarian situation. If we're really talking about the business side, okay, so unfortunately, there's going to be a new task force, and I think the ladies peers here, they know what I'm talking about. It was a task force on the logistics for the semiconductor crisis. So I know we got trained, but now we are as well seeing that maybe the light from the end of the tunnel of the semiconductor is not ending, because unfortunately there is a completely new route of the transport for everything that is coming from the semiconductor from the Asian part of the world. But this is, at the end of the day, something that we have to do at the end of the day for the business. As we're mentioning, I think the situation is very dynamic, so we just need to follow it closely and to adapt it on the go as the events will unfold. Always we are hoping for the best, yeah, and we are here as well to support.
Thank you, Monica. Sono?
Mona and Monica really summarized it very well, but I just wanted to add, I think in times of this type of challenges, we as people, we need to show support in any way possible. And I've seen that how quickly, even Romanians, I've heard many news, how quickly, our country members just stepped in and supported. And as well as at the continental corporate side, we making donations and opening up donations for the employees to also contribute. I think this is what we can do from the industry side. And from the business perspective, there was a lot of course, interference because their air fly zones were blocked and so forth. And then the sanctions were applied. So some businesses to Russia will have to be stopped. But what I see in overall, and I see still that human care, deep care is still existing. And I don't see the selfishness of the businesses wanting to, take advantage of the situation. They are actually stopping their businesses and standing firm that, this type of conflict and war is really something unexpected in this type of generation that we're in, and that we should have a more diplomatic way of solving this type of challenges. But I am very proud of the people, of the actions that we have done so far, and then we will continue to do. And one challenge after another, I'm highly impressed with the resilience of our team members of really living this VUCA world of pandemic and now these other challenges that bring in their daily lives. So in my case, I think, that's the best we can do, working together to help and really pray that this type of situation will end quickly and impact the least amount of people.
Yeah, I think you've very rightfully summarized the sustainable approach of the businesses, because it was also a point on our agenda, but I wanted to discuss also about what is happening with this conflict, because like with the sustainable and all the discussion around sustainability, it puts a pressure on the humanity itself. And I think the fact that both businesses, individuals, the society at large looked at this from a sustainable perspective, putting profits not on the first as a first priority. I think it's a relevant example for this. Alexandra, would you also like to add, perhaps?
Yeah, so as my peers already mentioned, we should split this topic into, first of all, the humanitarian topic. So for sure, Marquardt was donated to Red Cross and support from this perspective. The second one would be the business perspective. We have several contingency plan, and our colleagues all over the globe are working and are meeting in order to create the needed actions, how to sustain the business and to increase the type of the product that we are doing. And before giving you back I would just like to mention something what we discussed before about education. So really important skill right now would be resilience. So resilient. We are not born with resilience. We need people around us to teach us, and we need strong people around us to show us this resilience and to support us to cope with all these difficult situations. So from our roles, I think it's really important that we are this strong resilience person who offer support in these difficult times, personal and professional ones, also to our colleagues.
Thank you, Alexandra. And before I close with a last question to all of you, a surprise question, I would say, because we really need to circle back to where we started. I think we've heard today the importance of communication, the importance of having events like this one, discuss about empowering women, to discuss about the attractiveness of the sector. This is really important, to give a space for women to have trust in themselves and to have the courage to dare to change the world, basically, and to make sure that we don't disregard the power of inspiring even in one event. We really hope that this event today inspired as many women as possible. And my last question to all of you would be, what will you say to a woman who is watching us today and is considering either changing or starting a new career? Simona?
I would give the recommendation to not to give up and to look closely and find out what she wants. And if this is really what she wants, if that is exactly what she wants, to find all the possible ways to make that happen.
Thank you, Simona. Monica?
So I would really say that success, it is the chance that we are giving to ourselves. Yeah. So be curious, be courageous, and be ambitious.
Thank you, Monica. Sonok?
This life is a journey. Every step or every decision you make or change or start, enjoy, stop to smell the roses, and continue to own your career development and not put it onto someone else's shoulder. It is your life. So keep motivated and know that you're not alone. We're all in this journey together.
Thank you, Sonok. Alexandra?
Ladies, be brave. So a mistake never kill no one. So we should really go forward and be brave. And look at us, it's possible.
Thank you, Alexandra. Dear ladies, it was really an inspiration to be together with you this morning. I really hope that our audience took some very valuable insights, because there were quite a few. I'm truly honored to be with you today. And now I'm handing back to Mirela. Mirela, thank you for hosting us today.
Thank you, Ramona, for moderating, and thank you, everyone. Valuable discussion. And let's continue the discussion maybe in October regarding education, leadership, diversity at People Empowering Business Forum. And why not in June on R&D topic in automotive industry. Thank you very much. Thank you again, and have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao. See you
Bye.
next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.